Welcome to episode 35 of the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to our podcast for the Becoming Elli community, where we focus on fitness, health, and food for women over 50.
Hello, and I'm Jill. Some of you might be wondering why this community is called Becoming Elli. Elli was the Norse goddess of aging who, when challenged to a wrestling match with Thor, surprised everyone by winning. Chris and I decided that we wanted to be fit and strong too, just like Elli.
We also decided to share that effort with all of you. We created a website, becomingelli.com, with many free articles, and we've also started a private Facebook group where we can share our accomplishments with each other and ask each other for help.
If you go to the Becoming Elli website, you can find some things to help you with your journey to being fit and strong. We have some mantras to help you and an ebook of some of our favorite recipes. Feel free to explore the website and find a variety of resources.
And besides the website, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you at whatever social media place you prefer.
Today, Chris and I are going to talk about inspiration, motivation, and discipline.
One of the things we noticed that the women who have joined the Becoming Elli Facebook group want is help with motivation or support from other women. So we wanted to talk about that today.
Okay, so Chris, can you explain to me what the difference is between inspiration and motivation?
Well, I'd like to say for sure, but I know it's not as simple as all that. Several months ago, we talked with Vicki Prusick, who gave us the definition, and that's in inspirational messages. And she said something that I wasn't quite sure about, and I had to actually Google it and double check ahead of time. She said that motivation is external and inspiration is internal. And I thought, I don't know, that just seems so, I didn't realize that, but when you start really researching it, there's something to it. Inspiration is something that you feel on the inside, whereas motivation is something from the outside that kind of compels you to take action. But both of them can have positive and negative forces at play. And I guess that's what we wanted to explore and talk about today, because we all want inspiration and motivation when it comes to healthy eating and working out and just being fit and strong.
All right, let me see if I can get this straight. And I know you're not an expert on this, but
no, not at all.
but you seem to have a better grasp than I do. So let me ask you a couple questions.
About that.
So inspiration would be if I thought, I love running. This makes me feel great, makes me feel fit and strong. And motivation would be more like, all right, I want to be fit and strong, so I better go run.
Maybe. I think that both of those are kind of inspiration because they're all internal feelings for you. I think inspiration would be like, I love running. I really feel like going for a run today. The sun's shining, the weather's perfect, and I just bought some new outfit. I just feel like putting on those shoes and running away. Or running, not away. Running. But motivation might be, oh, I have an appointment at the gym and I better get myself motivated and get over there because I promised everyone I was going to show up for class.
Right. Okay. So, or
it's external,
in your example, that you feel great and you bought new shoes, or you could be thinking, I just spent all that money on those new shoes. I better go run, or I'm going to feel horrible that I bought them. So, okay, I sort of get that. So inspiration, I always think about that as looking at heroes or people who I admire and feeling inspired. It's like, I want to be like them. I want to be like Elli. Yeah. I want to be like whoever.
It's very complicated, really, because, it's not either or. One can be an approach kind of thing, like you want to approach that situation or person or to be like that. And the other could be avoidance. Like, I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to be too unfit. I can't pick up my grandkids. I don't want to, but they're both feelings tied with emotions. It's very complicated. And unless you've studied psychology and you really can map it out. But I thought today we might talk about situations where we feel inspired, not just like the carrot and the stick, although that's a little bit of it. I find that I need both. I really do.
Yes, I think we all do. So that is why I end up hiring a trainer often, is because if I have spent the money and I've made an appointment to go to the gym, I'm going to do it rather than. So for the days when I think, you know what, I'm tired, I've been working hard, I just as soon stay home and sit on the couch and watch some TV, but I know that I have that appointment, so I go. So that, okay, that's sort of the motivation for me there, is that I have an appointment, I made a commitment, and I also have money on the line.
Right. Well, a motivation might be like the willingness to put the effort in, something that, you want to achieve a goal. And so you're willing to work with a coach, to be on a team, to make a commitment, and to have some sort of deadline.
Right. Okay.
All of those things I consider motivation. And I think it's important to have some motivation. I mean, people say things all the time like, I want to lose weight and get in better shape to go to the beach, which is on my mind because, my vacation's coming up.
And you're going to the beach?
And I'm going to the beach. Or, the following week, I have to keep running and finish my couch to 5K for the race that I signed up for. It's an outside commitment. So to me, that's all motivation, or I'm going to a wedding and I want to fit in that dress. And so, or look good in that dress or whatever it is, look good in the pictures from the wedding. But it
right, exactly.
To me, motivation kind of nags at me with that feeling like you better do this or you'll be sorry.
Right. Okay. And so that's where we said that this episode was about inspiration, motivation, and discipline. Yep. And so to me, discipline is where when you aren't feeling motivated or inspired, you have set up a routine so that this is just what you do, whether it's every day you get up and you go for a run, or every 3 days you go to a particular time to the gym. It's your routine. If you're disciplined, you do it regardless of how what you feel.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my take on that.
See, when I hear the word discipline, it has a real negative feeling to me because I feel like I'm being disciplined, like, a bad dog sitting in the corner or something.
Oh, no, yeah, not like punishment. Well, I guess it could be, but it's just that it's a routine, it's a habit.
Yeah, and that's how I like to think of it, as this is my routine, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is my habit, this is how I live my life.
Right.
But if I think of it like discipline, like I have to use my willpower, all of a sudden I feel very resistant to the whole thing, like, well, I don't have to do that. I don't quite know why that happens to me, but even the word discipline or willpower, both of those words are very negative for me, and not in a motivating kind of negative way, but in a resistant kind of way. But I don't think that discipline, I think you like discipline. Am I putting words in your mouth?
Well, to me, it makes sense, because there are days when, regardless of how much motivation and inspiration you may feel you have, there are days when you are not motivated to do things. So you have to then, if you rely solely on being motivated, you're going to not achieve your goals because you're not always motivated.
True.
So that's where having something, whether you call it discipline or routine, or that you do things regardless of whether or not you actually feel like it. Mm-hmm. So here's an example.
Okay.
I noticed, so I've been working on doing my running, trying to get back into running and doing my couch to 5K. And one thing I've noticed is when I first start to run, I feel horrible. I mean, I feel tired. I feel my legs feel sluggish. And I always think, maybe I should stop and walk for a while. And so doing this recently, I realized I've always felt this way. This is part of starting to run. Yep. And it's only after I get in some distance that I begin to really feel
I totally agree.
Of,
for me, it's 8 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, but there's a
right.
certain number of minutes
while
before my blood vessels adjust or my heart adjusts or something. I don't know.
And so if I relied simply on being motivated, like, I want to run because I want to be in good shape, those first 8 or 10 minutes, I might decide, well, I could walk as a warm up, whatever. But if I know that that's how I feel and I just think, all right, you just have to get through it, work your way through it, and this is how I do my run, then I'm more likely to just keep going. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe we're arguing about, or not arguing, but maybe we're just having a semantic conversation right now. But was something I was thinking about last night as I was slogging away through those first time and thinking, oh, this is horrible.
Well, I think of like creativity, when I'm trying to get some work done. In my regular work, I do marketing, and it requires a lot of creativity, but there's lots of times where I'm not inspired to be creative. I just don't feel creative. And one of the ways I overcame that, because you can't have a job, you can't be in business for yourself and not continue to keep doing work, even if you're not feeling it that day, is there was a book by Julia Cameron, and it talked about The Artist's Way. You probably heard of it.
Yeah.
And she talks about doing a routine, and she called it morning pages and an artist date. Those were the 2 routines. And you would do that consistently every morning. You don't think about it, you just do it. When you first get up, you do your morning pages. But your artist date would be something like you would go somewhere by yourself to, maybe a park or a special place that would sort of feed your soul. But both of those things would help to keep you creative, and you would work on the quantity rather than the quality of the work, because you would continue to keep working even when you didn't feel like it. And I guess that's the same sort of thing as, hiring a coach or having a commitment with a class that you've promised to go to. You continue to do something with a routine or a habit, and all of a sudden the inspiration comes, the creativity comes, it starts to flow inside.
Okay, yes.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so just with my example about feeling crummy at the beginning of the run, if I keep running, at some point I begin to feel pretty good, and oftentimes when it's time to stop, I think, oh, this is just the time when I'm really getting into this. I mean, where I just feel strong and that I could keep going. And so, yes, I understand that.
Yes, the end of the run is so much more fun than the beginning of the run. And it's not because you're finished. It's because the endorphins are going. Your inside feels better.
Yeah, everything does feel better. So I get that. Okay, so that makes sense.
We had another guest, but she talked about food, and it was, I'm thinking who it is, but she talked about eating 2 or 3 cups of vegetables every day, snacking on vegetables instead of snacking on chips. And after a while, her body craved the vegetables. So I guess it works with food, too.
Oh, right. Yes, actually, and I think about that, 3 cups of raw vegetables a day.
And what a difference that makes to your body. And you start to crave that, And it's funny, you wouldn't think that inspiration and motivation, it would affect your diet the same way, but by making small changes, switching things around, it just makes it easier to continue. When you were talking a little bit about running, it reminded me of that recent post that was in our Facebook group. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It was about a trail race.
Yeah, we had the one, so yes, she had done her first trail race last weekend.
Right. That's the one.
Yes, so she said, I ran my first trail race yesterday. It was 6 miles on a bike trail, so lots of man-made hills and jumps. It was so hot. It was fun. I felt I was running so slow, and midway through I was thinking, I'll never do this again. Soon as I finished, I was thinking to myself, that wasn't too bad, and I can't wait to try again.
That's cool.
And then that she ended with saying, not too bad for just starting running in October. So
wow.
that's what, 6 months, something like that, 7 months.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that kind of thing is what inspires me when I see someone who's trying something for the first time, or maybe someone who has had some obstacles in their way and then they achieve something, that I guess it's the thrill of victory, right?
So it was the reason why we wanted to have Linda Brooks on the podcast. We interviewed her a couple of episodes ago because she took up swimming and bicycling and running basically in her 60s and now does triathlons.
Yeah, for someone, after retirement to become an athlete is really inspirational to me. And I think of Wendy, who is still running and doing CrossFit, although, she also has to deal with the struggles of an occasional flare-up with her rheumatoid arthritis. That I find very inspirational. People in their 20s that don't have any health challenges, to me, that's great, but it doesn't inspire me because it doesn't kick the right things off to me. To me, hearing about somebody who's maybe older or has some health challenges or like me, had a lot of weight and lost it and then is struggling to stay fit and strong and keep the weight off. That inspires me.
Well, I think because it's great to see young people doing athletic things,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not, it's like I remember going to a yoga class. This happens more than
Mm-hmm.
once. And someone will bring their 13-year-old daughter who is extremely flexible and is very proud of herself that she can bend better than anyone else in the room. But it's, we were all 13 once and we were all like Gumby. But you change as your body matures, you change.
Right.
And so things that used to be easy aren't. And so you're right. It's when you see a 60-year-old woman doing yoga and being flexible like Gumby that you think, oh my goodness, I wish I could do that.
Right. And particularly if someone, that they're struggling with some sort of challenge.
Right. So the yoga class that I've been taking, the gentle yoga, somebody told me that the instructor is 72 years old. I was shocked. I would have said she was in her 50s.
Because of how flexible she is?
Well, she's in such great shape and she is flexible and she just looks very healthy and active and vibrant. I just was shocked that she just didn't look her age. I guess that's all I can say. I wouldn't have, if you had asked me, I wouldn't have guessed that.
It's hard to keep in my mind what my age really is. Like, I think of when I was a kid and I thought about someone in their 60s. I pictured like maybe RFD, Aunt B. She was in her 60s.
Right.
And right now, I don't relate to her either, So I guess part of Becoming Elli is trying to find women that are role models to look up to, because part of when you're trying to make a change, I think, is hanging out with people that you aspire to be. You know what I mean?
If the only people you see are people who don't work out, or let's say they're sedentary and eating differently,
and it might be that's what they're, they don't have the goal of being fit and strong.
Right. But it doesn't help you on your journey if
that is your goal. Right.
I know a lot of times you'll see people on Facebook or wherever saying, nobody in my family supports me. So you have to look out. Right. You're not going to get rid of your family because they're not out running with you.
Well, and it's a change in the family when you change your eating habits, when you change your sleep, your exercise habits, what you like to do. It's a big change for everyone, but getting healthy, I think, for me, is a very important change.
So you have to find that support somewhere else, and I guess that's where things like the Becoming Elli community can help. If you need some support in, I'm doing this and today I'm feeling really strong or today I'm feeling really weak.
Yep. Well, I find inspiration and motivation there. One of the things that I've tried to do, but with not as much success, I guess, is fake it till you make it. Like keep trying to do things. And you and I have talked about this before, is like when you're running, to put a smile on your face.
Oh, right. Yes.
Because that will lift your mood. And, I struggle with that sometimes because I find my face not having that smile on it when I'm running. But it's true. Like, what you keep trying to do, whether it's having a group of people around you with the same common goals, or a smile on your face when you're running, to have that open attitude where you're working towards something, it really helps me, at least, with inspiration and motivation to keep going towards my goal. There were other people that we talked to about, their journeys, and some of the ones that I found the most motivating were ones that they talked about things that they were doing in, I guess, everyday life. And I'm thinking of Janet Palcko, who was hiking in Spain, and she just recently returned from another trip to Spain.
Oh, wow.
She went last summer and then again this summer. I remember she said she hiked 500 miles.
I know. That was incredible to me, and it really made me want to do it.
Yeah.
That just sounded like such a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure that my goal is to be able to do something as extreme as 500 miles I think she did it in 50 days. Or, the triathlons that you,
well, I've only done an indoor one, but yeah.
But to be fit and strong and to at least consider that as a possible goal, is something that I'd like to strive for.
Juel Fitzgerald that we've talked to a couple of times, and she does those race walking in the marathons. She does an incredible amount of things, and also works with other. Her goal now, she doesn't pick her marathon; she lets other people choose them, and she works with them to get them to do it. So there's also that element of giving back to people. She's working to inspire and motivate others.
Girl Trek, I think that's the name of the.
Well, yeah, but I think she also has, different friends that she just lets them say, I want to do this marathon. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one she goes and she does it with them.
Right. She buddies up with folks. Because I remember she was going to do something in the beginning of June up near Niagara Falls.
Yeah. She was working at the aid station because I had thought that would be a really fun race to do.
Right.
Then I didn't run enough this year to actually do that. So
maybe next year.
Maybe, because that one really did look like fun because they gave you wine at the end. I do know that. And so there's that element of inspiration too. It's like, oh, I get a reward.
Well, I'm thinking of Diane Reuther, the woman that suggested the vegetables to us, and we got inspired for the veggie challenge. She and her husband hiked in the Alps, and that, just the thin air alone would be a bit of a challenge. But to be physically fit enough to be able to hike the Alps, that's something that would be a really fun, at least I don't want to say pipe dream because that seems like it would never happen, but it's something that could be achieved.
So hiking in the Alps is one of those things that, I was just talking about Heidi with someone, and
Heidi the book.
Heidi the book, and I loved Heidi, and so I often, even when I put multiple layers on of clothing, I think of Heidi. So I've always wanted to walk in the Alps because of Heidi. So Diane doing that, that sounds like a really great goal too.
Mm-hmm. I think it's on my bucket list, tell you the truth.
Okay. And then Diane Berkley, that we've also interviewed a couple of times, and she is so strong.
Yes, she is.
And she lifts her weights, and she's taken up running. Did her first race, and it was a 10K. She's just very impressive with how hard she works out, and she's so committed to it.
Yeah, she really has what I consider a strict routine, but something that she definitely has seen the rewards from. And maybe that's it, is giving yourself a reward. Make a goal but have a reward for it that's beyond just the normal rewards that you give yourself.
Yes, getting rewards, whether you decide I get a reward, or, so that's where setting a goal, making a commitment, and then doing it, to me, in the way, that's the reward. So whether it's, I'm going to go on vacation and I'm going to hike in the Alps, or I'm going, like last year when I went to Italy and I traipsed all over the place,
right.
It was a wonderful feeling to be able to do that from a position of strength, rather than, oh my goodness, I'm so tired. Do I really have to go walk around some more? That's not perhaps a reward, but it feels like a reward to me, that to be able to enjoy something so much and not have to think about, oh, I'm so tired, I can't do this.
Well, as far as rewards go, I think that's one reason why races are so fun. It gives you the sense of belonging where everyone gets the shirt, and the sense of a reward with the bling of a little medal, or, a trophy if you, score in your age group. And just remembering, I don't know, the pictures afterwards. There's one picture that still inspires me every time I look at it, and that's the picture of the 5 of us from our first Akron relay. You know which picture I mean?
Yes.
I have it as my screensaver on my computer, and it just, I don't know, that feeling is recaptured in my heart each time, of just being so proud of myself, my team. We did it.
Well, one thing I noticed with pictures, after you do a race, you end up with pictures.
Right.
And it's amazing. Everyone is smiling. No one, you never see someone glowering at the camera after they finish their race. Everyone is smiling. Doing a race is such a feeling of accomplishment, and you're right. There's that community. It's fun. It's
right. It's not the vague goal that you achieve of better health, or, controlled my weight.
Those are long-term.
It's a long-term goal, but you never really feel like you get there. I don't know, unless
well, because it's not like there's an end to that.
Right. It's
not
the
end
tangible.
To that goal is that you're not doing it anymore, but for whatever reason. But
well, I guess going to the doctor and getting those numbers, that's
so
you
that's
can either dread it or you look forward to it because the numbers are going to be good.
Okay, so that's where the word discipline comes in. All right.
Okay.
In the negative sense for you.
Right.
You go get your numbers and
well, only if I suspect they're going to be bad,
Right, I know.
I don't equate doctors and discipline, actually. I just mean like the difference between a race. A race is that particular day.
Right. It's an immediate. It's a short-term goal. You set a goal, you sign up for it, you go do it, and it's a lot of fun. And at the end, you feel very accomplished.
And there's a sense of belonging. You're not in it by yourself.
Yes.
I mean, when you're with a big group, the feelings kind of transfer to you. The nervousness before it starts, and the excitement of all the music. And
so is there something you've done that you probably wouldn't have done except that somebody inspired you or motivated you to do it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, one day, shortly after I started running, I'd only run maybe 4 or 5 Ks, and all of them were in the 50-minute and up to 60-minute. I was doing just basically a walking 5K. Well, one day I got a phone call from a friend, and this was near Halloween. She said she was on the way to a race, and would I like to join her? And it was 7:30 at night. And first of all, I go to bed around 9:30. But for some reason, she just called me on the spur of the moment. And I had been working out and training and things. She says, "Do you want to do a race? It's called a zombie run." And, it sounded so fun. It's Halloween. And I think this is a place where you like to run, too. It's up in Monroe Falls, around a lake up there.
Oh, okay.
And so it's dark, and we're running a 5K, and it's a trail run. I've never even done a trail run before, so
you did a trail run in the dark.
Yes, yes, and I'll tell you, I did a pretty good time, too, because I kept thinking, what if there's a wolf out there that's going to, and I was worried about the lights, so I wanted to stay with the other people who had lights. I had a little light on my head, but it was different than any other run I've ever done before or since, because it was at night, and you had to pick your feet up. There was some sort of routine where there were people that had stickers, and they were hiding along the trail, and they could be a zombie or they could unzombie you, and I forget how that all works. It may be. But anyway, it was more of a game than an actual race, but it was so fun. It was so fun. So that was a huge sense of accomplishment because, number one, I stayed up late and enjoyed it. Usually that's not the case. I ran at night on a trail race in the dark. They did have some luminaries kind of from time to time. And zombies, I don't even watch Fear of the Walking Dead or any of those because I get too anxious.
You're not a zombie
movies.
fan.
Yeah, but it was so fun. And, that was something that spur of the moment, but I was ready for it because I'd been doing my obligatory running and couch to 5K and make sure that I was ready.
I remember when you and I decided to sign up for the 5-mile run. The Frosty 5.
Yeah.
And you and I both had sort of assumed that Frosty 5 meant 5K, which is 3.1 miles. Yeah. And then
it wasn't until we plunked down our money that we realized,
were going to. Yeah, it was 5 miles. And I remember us both looking at each other and saying, well, I've never run that far, but I guess we could do it.
And we did.
We did. I trained for it.
Me too.
And I'll tell you, there is something about that race that whole race means a lot to me. For one thing, that was the only time it ever happened that I know of, but that race ran past my house.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it was at Christmas, and it was the last time my parents came to my house for Christmas.
Oh.
And they were out in the yard, and they watched us run by. And so...
That's right. I remember seeing them because you and I are waving like...
Yeah,
like
we were waving. So I like that. Well, here's the thing, is that, as a child, I was not an athletic kid. And my father was very athletic, and he really tried to get us kids to be little athletes.
Yeah.
And he, after we ran by, he said to me, "You looked pretty good." He said, "I remember he didn't say this, but it was sort of what he implied. I remember what a crummy runner you were as a kid." You looked good.
Redemption.
Yes.
Well, I remember that run very distinctly because especially mile 4 on for me was a struggle, and you're a much faster runner than I am. So I felt very supported through that run because you stuck with me, and gosh, that was so much fun. In fact, we did that run several different times. It's Christmas Eve run, so it's difficult depending on the schedule with the family, but it's a great run.
It is, but that decided, thinking it was a 5K, and us looking at each other saying, well, I guess we could do that. But that's how, that's how you improve, and how you get is deciding, okay, I can do it.
Yeah. One time I signed up for a race that was a turkey trot. Those are the races that are, around Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And this one was in Aurora. And I, once again, assumed it was a 5K. And we get to the 3-mile mark, and nobody's like slowing down or speeding up for the 0.1 left. And I realized, this is a lot longer. It wasn't 5 miles. It was only 4 miles, but that was a surprise to me. So it was a stretch, and I felt great afterwards. I felt like, oh, wow, I did an extra mile and I hadn't even expected to do it. That was a neat thing.
Sometimes when I'm training with people and they'll say, hey, let's just do another mile. Mm-hmm. And I'm always thinking, I'm done. I said I was going to run 4 miles and now you want to do 5. But sometimes I do it. Just for that reason, because you never know. I've been in races where my watch says I'm, the measurements are different. So my mind is that I'm running an extra half mile or whatever. So I like to actually train for that occasionally, for the moment when I realize I have to run another mile.
Well, and you don't know it's going to be uphill or downhill or what have you.
Right. That's true.
So all in all of the different things, do you have something that you use for inspiration that, really keeps you inspired, or do you rely more on discipline and your commitment?
So, there's the things that we've always talked about. There's, your health and the numbers and those aren't really things. Those are in the background. I will say I like to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times in my life when I'm doing something. I remember one time I was swapping windows and screens out on my porch, and the window was heavy and I couldn't get it out.
Right.
And all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute, you're strong. You can do this. So I actually just thought about it and flexed my muscles and I got it out. I did it. And I like that. I like to be able to take care of myself. I like to be able to lift my own suitcase. I like to me, being strong gives me a sense of independence.
Yes.
That is worth a lot to me. So it's why I don't really have a problem with going out and running on my own or doing things, whether or not other people are doing them, I'm going to do them because the payoff to me is invaluable.
Yeah, there's this different sense of self-esteem. Like some people have it through their jobs, some people through their education or, where they live or where they go out to dinner at a restaurant or, their self-image is tied up with different things. But there's something about being strong that just makes you feel so capable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So, all those other things matter and I don't make a living by being strong, so there is that. But it really does completely changes my perspective on myself.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, so I went to a conference a few years ago and I was looking at a photo of a few of us. I thought, I really look great in this picture.
Yeah, and usually people don't say that about themselves in a picture, right?
So, you know what? I'd sort of forgotten about this, but you asked me the other day what made me decide to get into fitness. Mm-hmm. And it was a picture, was when I finally decided I really had to do something. There was a photograph of me at a Christmas party at work. Mm-hmm. And somebody posted that photo on the website in the employee section. So it wasn't like it was in the public, but it was the most embarrassing photo. I felt like I looked horrible. Mm. And I looked at that picture and I thought, I definitely... So, sometimes you have those eye-opening moments where you all of a sudden have to face the fact that you've gained a lot of weight or you're just not in great shape. And I looked at that photo and I thought, this is terrible. That was sort of
That was pivotal.
That was a pivotal moment for me that I had to do something. It was time to make some changes. And the other one was, I remember, I went up another size in clothing and I thought, okay, I am not going down this path anymore. I
can relate to that. I had a pair of pants that I could wear that was a certain size, and I refused to buy the next size up, and these were about to split. I had to do something. It was either buy a new size or get my act together.
Right, and I was getting to the point where I wasn't able to find clothes in my size. I was going to have to change clothing departments or whatever. Stores. I was going and I thought, okay, it's time. It's time. And so I met, and so all this is a process. That's, why the group is called Becoming Elli, because it's just a constant process of, and we have our ups and downs, you get,
right.
I go along fine and then I'll get injured or I have something positive happens, but I gain some weight and then I want to lose the weight, that kind of thing.
Well, every celebration or every whatever, it's all tied to food and sitting around,
Right. Yeah, no.
It is. It's a constant paying attention to fitness and working out, eating healthy. All of it is, a routine and a habit, or it's not.
I think back to your question about the inspiration or discipline or whatever, I think it's a combination. I think that there's that. I don't go through every day saying I love to be strong. And every time I go to the gym, I don't think I love doing this.
I love doing this.
And in fact, one of the days, so talk about putting a smile on your face. One day I said, I go to boot camp every week and every week I do something and I'm always muttering, I hate this. Why am I doing this?
You mean burpees?
Yeah. Yeah, I do mean those. And then I thought, why am I doing this if everything I say is, I hate this? But I think that's sort of said in jest. But maybe I should quit saying that. Maybe I should start saying, I love these. But
Oh, good, burpees, my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Hooray.
Yeah, big smile on your face, and everyone's going to wonder about Jill. Well, one of the things I find motivational for me at the gym are the classes. And I think we've talked about this before. But the social aspect of being together with like-minded people that are working to get fit and strong and stay fit and strong. You know, I tried to talk to, just briefly, just about as many people as I can to say hello, good morning, how's the weather? You know, what do you think of the weather? If it's too hot, too cold, what have you, or good to see you. Because being an extrovert, I feed off of other people, other people's energy. And I just find that is a big motivation to me to go to the gym, to see people. I guess that's the motivation, not inspiration, but it's a different kind of accountability.
Right. Well, I'm not as extroverted as you, so I tend to not speak to every single person there, but you do make friends. I have made friends.
Oh, sure.
And I do speak to them, and it's so I've been going to my boot camp class for years now, and so it is nice to have the support of people. You know, I'll hear someone yell, "Go Jill!" or whatever occasionally, right. And that's a very motivational thing. It's I remember when I first started going, I was terrified to go.
Oh yeah, my first boot camp, that was scary.
Yeah,
really scary. And also looking at women that are older than me, I find especially those people to be very inspirational.
Yes, or women who are doing phenomenal things. They don't have to necessarily be older, but they could be my age.
Yeah, my age. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of women doing amazing things, and I think part of getting older is that you do at some point you hit that path of whether you're going to become Aunt B or I don't know, somebody else.
So I know you were doing a fitness challenge this past weekend at your gym. How did it go?
Oh, it went really well. It was fun, and I was very happy with my results.
About how many people in your age group?
Well, in my age group, which is 50 and over, there were supposed to be 3 of us, but one of them pulled out at the last moment, so it was 2 of us. But that's better than when I first started doing these, when it was just me. So it's always good to have competition, I have to say.
And how did you do?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was really happy with my performance. I wasn't sure if I would do well this time, but I did better than I expected, so I was really happy.
Oh, wow, that's great. What was your favorite portion of the competition?
I really like doing deadlifts, so we had to do deadlifts. It was a 4 weights in a minute, so I think it started at 75, and then at 110, 135, and 155.
Wow.
And so I like doing that. There were push-ups and there was some cardio things, running, biking, and this cross-country ski machine thing.
You trained a lot for this, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know what was in it until recently, so they don't tell you right away. So it's not like I trained just for that. But yes, I did a lot of preparation work for it. But it's an assortment of both strength and cardio. So I felt pretty prepared for it.
That's great. That's great. Well, I'm glad it was so fun.
Yeah, they do this twice a year, and I always enjoy it, though I missed the past couple because of various problems. So I was happy to be able to do it.
Yeah, it feels great to be back in the swing of things.
It sure does. I love it. Okay, so the lesson I'm taking away from today's talk is that there's lots of ways to be motivated to take care of ourselves and that we can still have fun while doing it.
Yes, I hope those of you listening will let us know what you've been doing to stay fit and strong and what motivates and inspires you. We'd love to continue this conversation.
Yes, just leave us a message on our website, becomingelli.com, or on our Facebook page.
And we also have a phone number where you can call to leave us a voice message. That number is 330-970-6662.
And that number is also on the website. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You can do that wherever you listen to podcasts. And tell your friends about us and show them how to access podcasts if necessary.
I hope you'll consider joining our Becoming Elli Facebook group. It's a great way to support, inspire, and motivate each other and to help us all find some added inspiration.
That's right. Great. Be sure to subscribe at our website for updates on all things Becoming Elli. You can also find lots of great information and things to download there.
Thanks for listening. Join us for the next episode of Fit Strong Women Over 50.
Yep. See you next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.